Okay, we are now recording this meeting. The March 22nd LEPC meeting for Adams County. I do see present basically almost all of the board members, the LEPC board. So we do have a quorum. So I think we can proceed. And let me just get the agenda up here so I can see it. We'll call the meeting to order without Glenn. For the members that are board members that are present, do we have all members that are present? Can we have a yay or nay on the January 2021 meeting minutes? Just you just say.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Ron, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Ron moves to approve. And was that Marilyn that second?
Yes.
Thank you. And do we have anyone opposed to approving the minutes as sent to you previously from last January's meeting? Hearing none, I will mark that those meeting minutes were approved. Okay, on to legislative and regulatory update. Does anyone from the regulatory side of things have any updates or any notes on any pending legislation?
Dean, did you want me to jump in here with my updates since most of it is regulatory?
That's fine, Fran. Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, hi, everybody. It's Fran Santagata from DHS CISA, and glad to be with everyone today. I'll give you a quick rundown on what's happening with our CFATS program. We will just go over some general statistics to begin with. And again, Dean, you don't need to take notes because I already sent them to you. And you can share the notes with the group. I'm fine with that. So statistically, at the national level, we hit a big milestone for us. We hit greater than 100,000 top screens. It's actually a little bit over about 100,400 top screens, which is amazing. A lot of work's been done, even with COVID still taking a toll on some of the work that we can do. Nationally, we have 3,284 tiered facilities. In Region 8, we have 103 tiered facilities. And in Colorado, we have 33 tiered facilities, no tier 1s, tier 2, we have 1 facility, tier 3, we have 20, and tier 4, we have 12. In Adams County, we still only have that 1 singular tier 4 facility. The advance notice of proposed rulemaking, which I talked about last time I was with you guys, officially closed on March 8th. We did receive 80 comments. And just as a reminder, this advance notice of proposed rulemaking was to look at potentially removing 49 Class 1 Division 1.1 explosives. The impetus for this rulemaking was a GAO report where they requested that we ensure we are not duplicating efforts with the ATF. So the rulemaking was put out there for comments, and of the 80 comments, the vast majority of them were what I would describe as a letter campaign, which it was the same basic comments over and over again, supporting the potential removal of the 1.1 explosives. And there were several that were more in depth, and the ones that were more in depth actually took some time to look at our risk-based performance standards and compare them over to the ATF standards for their program. So, again, this is the first in many steps. The steps then have to be, the comments then have to be adjudicated, and we'll be working with Congress on whether to proceed or have a notice of proposed rulemaking coming up. And I will obviously keep you guys posted on that. I don't expect anything for another several months. It's just a long process when you're dealing with Congress. The voluntary program, as I mentioned last time, is moving full steam ahead. As just a reminder, we received about $10 million in January of 2020 to support this effort. And really the thought line behind it is we have an awful lot of expertise under our roof here in the CFATS program. So why not expand the capability of our chemical security inspectors who provide such an incredible service to the regulated facilities, and expand that out in more of an advisory capacity to facilities that are not low risk, probably higher risk than what would be considered a minor issue for a community, but potentially facilities such as water and wastewater treatment facilities that are not regulated, they have an exemption from our program, or facilities that were required to follow a top screen, however, did not tier in the risk when we did the modeling, and the other consideration factors for tiering them in didn't push them into the high risk level. So that was the reason for this. You know, as I said, we started moving along developing products all during the pandemic. And the 5 categories of the products were the chemical security expert assistance and on-site services. And that is kind of what I described initially, where our CSIs will potentially be providing advice to facilities on site. There are several legal issues that have to be adjudicated first before that can happen. So we don't expect that to happen this year, particularly because it has to go back to Congress for approval. But down the road, we will see that, hopefully. The best practices guidance and tools, that's where you're going to see some of these tools. There's already one of them released on the website now, and that's the pandemic guide. But there will be a bunch being released over the summer. All the tools go through an extensive review process with our partners at the federal level and our stakeholders at the private sector level. But these, just to give you an idea of what they are tools such as a Secure Your Chem guideline and checklist. And we've got a number of other checklists that will be easy for facilities to use to improve their risk posture. And we also have a group working on chemical security exercises. We're getting very close on that. This Thursday, I have an internal meeting to review what the package is going to look like as they get released to facilities and the general population in chemical security. So which is really exciting. And what this is going to look like is an HCEP compliant package with specific scenarios that are related to chemical facility security. And they are designed to be used by, you know, the same group that I've already described, and to take and run with them. That group also is looking at developing the capacity to be able to help deliver these to facilities that might not have the manpower or the expertise on site to do an HCEP guided tabletop exercise. The chemical threat awareness and security training is under development. And then the CISA security services amplification, that's already been beta tested. So I'm going to expect to see some more of that coming down the road. And what this is in particular are 2 services that our protective security advisors already provide to facilities in general. The CSET tool, which is the cybersecurity assessment tool, and the active shooter training. And the idea is to use our CSIs to provide those same types of services, particularly to the chemical sector partners. And then lastly, we have an incentivization program that is under development now. It's about developing gold standards for the chemical facility community. And similar to something like what you'd see in healthcare, that would be the Joint Commission standards or the NFPA standards. There are a lot of examples out there where folks aspire to these standards for recognition within their own subgroup. Also, maybe potential liability protections could come from this. Right now, if any of you are familiar with what happens during lawsuits, is oftentimes they'll fall back to gold standards to decide whether or not someone should be held liable. So this gold standard could be used that way. And there may be other incentives that we are also working on that are a little bit more concrete, but I'm not at liberty to talk about them just yet because they're under legal review. And so the potential soft launch for a lot of the other easier products to get out there is the summer, as I mentioned earlier. Chemical sector security awareness training, that was launched in conjunction with FEMA. This is actually not a part of the voluntary program that I just described, but this is online training that is really directed more at the operators in chemical facilities. I actually took the training myself to see how complicated it was, and it really is an awareness level training, and owners obviously will benefit from it as well. But I don't want to raise expectations as to the level of expertise that is put into this. It's really awareness level training, and the links are part of the update that I sent you, Dean, so you feel free to send that out. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about were the threats that we've had. So there's just been a huge increase in cyber attacks. I'm sure you're all seeing this. There's been an uptick in ransomware, through the roof uptick. Water and wastewater facilities, healthcare and biotechnology, chemical facilities are amongst those. And right here in Colorado, Coors Brewery, that was in the news. So this should shake you a little bit that this is hitting home. And these bad actors are not just targeting large type facilities, they're going for low-hanging fruit. So everyone should really be on their toes for this. The SolarWinds Orion hack, this has been going on for months now, and we know that the Russians launched this attack and have been in the system for way longer than we knew was there. This was really, excuse me, directed at network monitoring software, and it is an advanced persistent threat. So it's going to take a long time to get this eradicated from those who've been infected with it. And then lastly, on the cyber side is the Microsoft Exchange server. And as most of you know, that is the most ubiquitous email server system that's out there. So the potential for all of us to be impacted by this is there. This was a Hafnium hack, basically suspected to be a Chinese hack. And there have been corporate chemical facilities impacted by this. So that we know they're looking in our sector. So important for folks to be on the lookout. And then just lastly, there have been a lot of increased pre-operational and surveillance activities that were noted, particularly in Louisiana, but that doesn't mean it can't help happen elsewhere. There was a 2-year review of information that the FBI launched because of a cluster of these types of surveillance activities. And what was included in their report out to us were 90 security breaches, 73 incidents involving photography, and 53 unmanned aerial system sighting or drones. They do assess these incidents to continue and also to increase and expand beyond the state of Louisiana. So just to be aware, the bad guys are out there. They're trying to get to us through our computers, as well as more physical breaches. And that's all I have for everybody, unless you have any questions.
Thanks, Fran. This is Dean. I'd have one quick question for people that might not be familiar. Can you generally explain what the top screen program is, since you have success with that?
Sure. Thank you so much for calling that to my attention. So the top screen is the first step that a facility would take if they possess any of our 300 plus chemicals of interest at our screening threshold quantity. So that's the way the regulation was written. There's a list of these chemicals that we regulate, and they are regulated at a specific concentration and screening threshold. And if a facility possesses that amount, then they are required to file a top screen. And the top screen is filed in an online tool in our chemical security assessment tool. Very quick. Most people tell us it takes 15 to 20 minutes if there's one chemical, and maybe a half hour to an hour, depending on the familiarity with using a computerized setup to be able to do the actual reporting if there are lots of chemicals. So yeah, that's what the top screen is. Thanks for the question.
Okay, yeah, and that's different than the tier 2 reporting that facilities do.
Exactly, because we often get that when we reach out to facilities. Oh, we already filed that with the state. No, it's not the same. There is overlap on the chemicals, but ours are a little bit different. We're a subset of tier 2. We more align with the RMP chemicals from EPA. There's a really big overlap with that because those are their methyl ethyl death, so to speak, chemicals which align with ours. So yes, thanks.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'll put the agenda back up here real quick if I can find it. Nope, it went away.
Oh, and just to mention, I do have Dave Grisante on the line as well. If anyone has a specific question for one of our chemical security inspectors, he was able to join us today.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing my LEPC agenda anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but I do have it here in front of me. So we have other partner updates. Adams County representatives. Anybody representing Adams County departments have any updates?
This is Ron from Office of Emergency Management. So nothing really going on in regards to LEPC functions. Our primary focus has been lately on testing and vaccination clinics. My guys have been setting up a lot of clinics, been involved, of course, in the water world test site. We've run about 11 other community-based clinics over the last month or so, and that will extend into May with those clinics. Our water world test site is being demobilized this week. So we'll start demobilizing the water world site on the 24th. And that site will be going away, and that testing capability will be picked up at other locations within Adams County, such as the regional fairgrounds and the Fat Cat site in Westminster. And so that's really all the updates that I have.
This is Katie Keefe, Community and Economic Development Department in Adams County, and don't really have any updates that have relevancy to LEPC.
Okay, anybody else in Adams County government? Okay, we'll move ahead to local agencies. Any other local agencies representatives on the line that have something to share?
Good morning, everybody. This is Jeff McCarron from TriCounty Health Department, and I'll go ahead and just give a quick update. So as far as TriCounty trying to fill Lisa Olivito's open solid waste specialist position, the internal job opening notices have gone out a couple weeks ago, and I have not heard if there's any internal candidates who have applied for that job or not. So we're up in the air. I haven't heard that they've interviewed anybody. So hopefully by the next time we meet, we should hear something about that position being filled. And next, I just wanted to kind of give a quick state of Tri-County Health Department update. Obviously the last year we've been focused very, very heavily on the pandemic outbreak, and a large percentage of our staff have been devoted to the COVID-19 response. I would say as many as 2/3 at the peak of it. So the rest of our operations, day-to-day operations, have been operating really on a skeletal crew, including our inspection activities and complaint responses. We have a triage system for determining the level of importance for complaints, and the ones we deem most important are clearly getting addressed, but some of the more routine ones may have not been able to be addressed during this time. And we have, in terms of our number of employees, they've almost doubled to include all the temporary staff that have been brought on for contact tracing. And our HR group has been really heavily devoted to maintaining the temporary staff as well as the activities they do for the rest of our staff. And so by midsummer, we're anticipating by midsummer that we may have about half of our staff that are currently devoted to the response back to their normal jobs. That's crossing our fingers, but it's looking like things may work out that way. Because it really has been a very big challenge responding to all the public requests that we've been getting, not only on the COVID side, but on a regular side as well. So we're anticipating too that in April, that Governor Polis may be issuing new public health orders, which could consist of basically opening everything back up and just requiring masks to be worn. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Kind of here at Tri-County, we're hoping for that, really, but we'll just see what develops. So don't hold your breath, but it's looking likely that that may be the case. So anyway, we're looking like things may be a lot more back to normal by midsummer. So that's what we anticipate, and hopefully it'll come true. So thank you. And I don't know, I can't see all the people on. Is Matt Newman online? Matt, are you on?
Matt sent me, oh, you're on, Matt? Okay, good.
Oh, hey, Matt. Okay. I was going to give some vaccination information, but if you're online, go for it, if you have anything.
I mean, I don't have anything specifically. I can say that I didn't actually prepare for an update or anything for this meeting, so I don't have any numbers or anything in front of me. However, I can say that, we are expecting to get additional doses of vaccines over, starting as early as this week or next week. And because of that, we are working very heavily with all of our partners, including Adams County, of course, to ensure that we are being kind of as equitable as possible in how we are distributing that vaccine to make sure we are reaching those most vulnerable populations. We had a meeting late Friday with Adams County to identify some possible locations for fixed sites to make sure we are reaching that population around the county. And so early this week, based on our conversation, Tri-County will be providing Adams County with kind of the list of where, based on our conversation, we think those sites should be. And along with Adams County, we will, start the process of ensuring that those sites are set up and in the right locations and things like that for vaccinations. And then we're working with our existing provider infrastructure and our existing kind of mobile clinic infrastructure and Tri-County Clinic to kind of ramp those sites up as much as we can to ensure that we are able to distribute the increased vaccination doses that we hope to receive, or we will be receiving within the next week or so, to make sure we, are vaccinating everyone by the end of May.
All right.
Does
Thanks,
that work
Matt.
for you, Jeff? Did you have anything else to add?
No, I was just going to mention real quick about the just the vaccination stages. So we've been in vaccination phase 1B3. March 19th, we moved into 1B4, which basically says that people 50 and older can now be vaccinated, including frontline essential workers and people with high risk conditions. And then people who are involved in continuation of operations for state government and continuity of local government. So those are the new groups that'll be included in this vaccination stage. That's
And Chad, just to add to that, I did contact each local municipality in Adams County directly to let them know about that and kind of talk to them about what their options are and how they can get vaccinated.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Jeff is one of the new board members elected in January, and I also understand that Glenn has been able to log on here. So glad everybody's together now. So next,
Dean, this is Ron.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this does have to do with LEPC. So just for those of you in emergency response, sheriff's office, fire districts, and also hazmat, I do have the new version of the emergency response guidebook was finally delivered, the 2020 version. Most of you have probably been operating on the 2008 version. So this is an update. So I have those in my office. If you want to pick some up, I know that there are orders placed. If you need those books, they're in my office. You can send a representative over to pick up the ERGs for your specific agency. I have already distributed books to Thornton and also Commerce City to the emergency managers, and they're distributing books to their first responders. But if I know the sheriff's office hasn't gotten any yet, and also I'm looking at some of the larger fire districts in Adams County as well, and I think Glenn is going to pick some up for Hazmat Authority in Westminster. So anyway, they're in my office. Give us a call if you need some books, and we'll make sure we're there to hand them out to you.
Thanks, Ron. That's good. Good news for everybody. They're hot off the presses. Okay, so local chemical facilities. Do we have any updates from facility representatives?
Alan Biesmeyer, Industrial Chemicals over in Arvada. We've been working pretty steady through the whole COVID thing. A lot of our steady, smaller customers, of course, have not been there, but we've been involved with Corden Pharma up in Boulder with Moderna and COVID vaccinations, and have kept pretty steady through this whole thing, helping with the COVID project. So we've been here and rocking it steady and kind of waiting for the rest of the economy and the relaxation of the job sources to come back online and put the manufacturing back in there where, it can take off and go full stream. But other than that, we haven't missed a beat. We've been here the whole time, so.
All right. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Alan. Hope you get going pretty soon here. All right. So, any other chemical facilities with the? Hearing none. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, it's Jeff Ostek with Suncor. I wanted to say hello. As a heads up, we've been working on some improvements to our communication process, and So we've kicked off a campaign to get community members to sign up for alerts that are going to come directly from the refinery about issues that are at the plant that you might see, hear, or smell that are outside of normal conditions. I'm going to drop it in the chat, but we do have a sign up page. There's two ways. Obviously, you can click on the link that I sent. There's also, you can Suncor to 88777. Again, I'll put that in the chat. But anytime that we're, experiencing something that might be an upset, flaring, things of that nature, we're going to send out notifications to the community. We've also put up the process for actual needing the public to take some sort of an action in the event of an emergency. We've made scales for our incidents, tier 1 to tier 3, and this is going to allow us to work directly with AdCom to send out notifications to the community. We've got pre-planned messages and things of that nature. We've also coordinated with Denver OEMs to make sure that we can get the members of the community that live in the Denver communities or county. But yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat to our sign-up page. This is obviously for a significant emergency. We'll be able to use that immediately. We'll be using AdCom and iPause. The tier 2 notifications, which is what everyone would be signing up for now, that is not going to kick off until June 1, but obviously we want to start getting folks to sign up prior to that. So I'll drop that information in the chat, but encourage everyone, go ahead and sign up.
Thanks, Jeff. Looks like I'm getting kind of everybody make sure. Jeff, you were a little bit hard to read, so I'm going to read back what I caught. The gist of it is that Suncor is putting out alerts now available as a mobile app, if I understand correctly, that you can get from the refinery for any flares, upsets, or emergencies. You're posting the link in the chat, and we'll make sure we can see that and share that with the group. Is that pretty good?
Yeah, generally. Sorry, my microphone's not working very well, so I'm kind of just yelling at my computer here now. But the notifications we're not going to start until June 1, though. So just as a heads up, you can sign up now, but we're not sending out notifications until June 1.
Sounds good. I heard you better that time too. So those notifications won't go out, won't start coming out till June 1st. Anything else, Jeff? Hearing none. So if there's no other local chemical facilities that have a report in, we do have TriCounty Health next on the agenda. Sounds like Jeff was able to give that with Matt, but if there is anything else from TriCounty Health, this is the time to say something.
Hey, Dean, this is Marilyn Lasoya with Coppers. I just wanted to give a quick update on the closing of our facility. We are about 90% done with cleaning and demolition. And for those of you that don't know what we did here in Denver, Coppers was a cross-tie treating facility. We treated with creosote petroleum solution. All of the product is off-site, and right now we're finishing up with cleaning and demo. And we hope to be done and the property to go into sale by the end of April. So just a quick update. Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn. Glad that's coming along. All right. Anything else? Going once, local chemical facilities. All right, and sounds like nothing else coming out from TriCounty Health. How about state of Colorado? Any state representatives? Okay. Hearing none. EPA.
Hey, Dean, real quick for the state, even though I'm obviously not the state, they have been meeting. They're back to meeting as the CEPC, and they are planning on doing an in-person LEPC conference this year. So stay tuned. I believe the next planning meeting for the conference is in a few weeks. It will be at Beaver Run for sure. That I know, and it will be the same time if this moves forward as we're hoping, if COVID cooperates. It will be the week of Labor Day, right after Labor Day. They are planning for it to be a day longer too, because we have leftover funds from last year, now having the ability to run it. So just thought I'd get that out there for folks.
Thanks, Fran. That's great. That's good news. Glad to see that coming back. All right. Let's go for EPA.
Yeah, hi, this is Mark Quick. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. I'm going to hit on a couple of things that are applicable to the group and a couple of things that probably aren't. And along the lines of something that's not, but it is something that we are working on. The EPA, primarily through Region 9 and 10, and have incorporated Region 8 into it, are working on a tribal emergency response planning conference, a virtual conference. It's going to be held in May. And of course, Colorado only has the 2 tribal nations down in the southwest corner and really doesn't affect Adams County, but I do believe one of the tribal nations is a substantial property owner in Adams County, that being the Southern Ute Indian tribe. We, like all of you, are hoping to be able to get out and be able to travel soon. With that said, we're working to basically update our outreach planning and how we offer assistance to local LEPCs that are in the process of trying to get started again or move away from all things COVID. So I know Adams County has been very active and things are moving along just fine, but we hope to get out and reach out to some of the more rural LEPCs in Region 8 and help them out and possibly start engaging them with tabletop exercises and things of that nature in the future here. Our headquarters is working on updating an LEPC handbook and bringing forward that information, making it available to the locals, basically a playbook for all things LEPC and how to best operate. Headquarters is also working on an EPCRA training for elected officials. That includes both a PowerPoint that can be presented by the local emergency planning committees to their elected officials, and also a video that goes along with that. Either one can be presented to help you get the point across to local elected officials and what our responsibilities and what our jobs are. Lastly, just wanted to hit real quick, Kathy Atencio, who is the section chief over our area, is retiring May 1st. Kathy has really been a pleasure to work with over the years, and we hate to see her go. Definitely, you know, when things change like that, especially at that level, there's always concern, but we're thrilled to report that an internal candidate is stepping up to take her place, and that gentleman is Steve Merritt, and Steve has functioned as an OSC over the years, and I'm guessing that your hazmat responders have probably had the opportunity to respond with Steve on calls over the years, and we're thrilled to see him stepping in there and taking on that responsibility. But he will be our new section chief here starting fairly soon, and don't know the exact date on that, but again, Kathy will be leaving 1st of May. And lastly, that's about all I've got. Do have a newsletter coming out in April, trying to feature local hazmat responses on that. So I throw this out to the hazmat responders. I thought I saw Glenn pop on there, and I know Mark Schumann is on there, but if you've got anything you would like to highlight and put in our Region 8 newsletter, I'd be glad to assist you with that. I just need a short write-up, and pictures are always appreciated. So that's all I've got. Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Mark. There's a question in the chat from Glenn. Mark, can you tell me what property the Southern Ute Nation has in Adams County? Is there an interface that we should be working on?
I have no clue about that, Glenn, about specific property. I do know that they have invested heavily in Weld County, and I had also thought that they had mentioned, and mind you, this is going back 7 years ago when I worked out of Durango. Gosh, it's 8 years ago now. But we used to work closely with the Southern Ute Indian tribe, and in their attempts to diversify in the early 2000s, they had purchased several mineral right leases up in Weld County, and I thought it was also in Adams County. So I don't know that they have surface property, but I am fairly confident that they do have mineral rights in the county, but I don't know specifically where.
Okay, thank you. There's another question in the comments for Mark. Can you please send info on the May tribal meeting?
And I'm sorry, to who?
To Fran Santagata, or you can send it to me and I can send it out to the group, or to Fran specifically.
Sure, Fran, I'll be glad to get that to you.
Thanks, Mark.
And Glenn commented that it would make sense if it's oil and gas. I think the follow-up to his question or to your answer. All right. What we have next on the agenda is continuing business, spill reporting. I have a few items on the spill reports. It's been pretty quiet this year since February, since our January meeting. Just after our January meeting, there was a fuel spill, 75 gallons of diesel. It was a transportation accident. That's been cleaned up. On the 27th, there was a reporting for the SO2 500-pound allowance exceeded from Suncor. On the 1st of February, we got a report of a sanitary sewer overflow. On the 10th, there was a crude oil spill onto concrete of 1 to 2 barrels. And then on the 4th of March, another sanitary sewer overflow, and that was all that's been reported since the last meeting. So if anyone needs any details on any of those, just email me and I can post that out to you. And that's all I have on that. Number 5 on the agenda is old business. The only thing in old business, I just want to do another shout out and welcome to Theo Gonzalez, who's on the call, and Jeff, who you heard from, Jeff McCarran, who are both recently elected to the LEPC board. So congratulations on that, and glad to have you on. And I actually put that in new business. So we've just taken care of new business unless anyone else has any other new business items. Give it another second. Anybody want to pop on with anything that we may have missed or didn't get on the agenda? All right. Number 7 is additional announcements by the chair. Glenn, do you have any anything now that we got you back on? If you're able to talk on this as well. Okay, sounds like hearing nothing. Any other last comments? Otherwise, we'll move to adjournment.
Hey, Dean, this is Greg Moser in Westminster. I was just curious, do you have the Tier 2 reports yet that you can send out for import into Marplot and Cameo?
Yeah, I can send you the link to that. That's actually on CDPHE's website, but I'm glad to send you. Let me make a quick note. And does anyone else need that link? Any fire departments or anybody that's on?
Yeah, Dean, this is Mark Schuman. If you could add me as well.
I'm putting you down, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Dean, this is Elizabeth Benarchik from Brighton Fire.
Uh-huh.
Can you add me to that?
Writing it down.
Hey,
Okay.
Dean, this is Fran. You may want to send a quick note to CDPHE with the list of your fire departments, because they supposedly did send a list out to the fire departments, but there is a new person there that is, and it sounds like they missed a bunch of your contacts.
All right. I think what I'll do then is send the link out to everybody, and that's a good comment, Fran. I will also contact CDPHE and let them know that they may have missed some people. But in the meantime, I'll send them that link as well. There's also the Tier 2. If anybody needs to download that, there is a new Tier 2 program. The Tier 2 Submit actually is Tier 2 Submit 2020, but that's new. There's an updated Marplot, and the Cameo Data Manager or Data Manager is way new and shiny and works really well. So if anybody needs links to those, otherwise, if you have it on your systems, just update it, and it should. Okay. Let me just get back to our screen here.
Looks like Glenn typed in an update.
Okay, yeah, I jumped out of that screen and I can't see everything there we go. So Theo says add Dylan, Ryan Doherty. Okay, I'll take a note of all the people in the comments, but again, I think I'll probably just send it to everybody on the LEPC list, and that way, even if somebody wasn't on the call but they didn't get it, hopefully we'll be able to get that info out. All right, glad we caught that. Any other quick comments? Thanks, Greg.
So it looks like what Glenn just typed is he has been working with the North Central Region and the Urban Area Security Initiative grant programs, which are progressing, nothing additional.
Thanks, Fran. Yep, I see that now. All right, and it also says be sure to let people know that the Tier 2 facility info needs to be opened in Cameo or Google Maps. So that's if you use that that whole Cameo suite, you basically download this Tier 2. It's a zip file that comes from the state, from CDPHE. Download that into there. It automatically populates. If anybody needs, you know, any instruction or you know, ask any questions about that. I'm not the world's predominant expert in that, not even close. but be willing to try and help out or connect you to someone who is. All right. Is everybody ready to move to adjournment, or do we have any other comments and discussion that we want to toss in here real quick? Okay, hearing none. Go ahead. Any of the board members want to move to adjourn?
I'll move, Dean.
All right, Ron moves. Any seconds?
Second.
Theo? Thank you, sir. Theo, second. Okay. Moved and seconded. This meeting is officially adjourned. Appreciate everybody coming on. The next meeting will be May 24th. Mark your calendars. If anybody has trouble with the Teams links or anything like that, get a hold of me in the interim and we'll see what we can do. Or if you have people you want to have added, just send me an email real quick and we'll take care of it. But this meeting is adjourned and thank you all for being on.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.